hopefully today is going to be our last day. I'm going to get this these hinges and those cushions. I'm just cleaning these up and going to put them back on there for now because you can't get these things. So I'll put these up here in the front and get the gas shocks on there. These vents are going to go back here in the back over those holes. So I'm going to try and hopefully have this all done today, but get this done, get those vents on, and then we can put the Bimini top on here. Got both the new brackets on for the gas shocks. I got the brackets on for the bottom. Those are all good. I got all the hinges on. These are gonna need to be drilled out once I flip these over, because this right here is different size. So one's gonna fit, the other one's not. So I'm gonna have to do some fabricating with this. Looks like they've got a bracket in here to get this up and get it level. So I might need to take this and just cut, you know, the end of it off on all of them or something like that. So that's, I got to figure that out. But I need to get these things put on there as well as the little rubber things. These screws are not big enough, so I need to go find some, probably about another 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch on this screw, and then I could put this thing back on. But before I run back up there, I'm gonna put these vents on it because I think I got the screws over here. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, that's 8. So yeah, those are my screws. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those vents on there just to knock that out and have that done. I need one other one because I kind of want, I mean, I guess I could leave this like this, it doesn't really matter. This is, that's fine like that. I could actually just leave this. I'm not gonna stick it there. I'm gonna screw both these on there and call it a day. That's good. I need to purge that still too.
This was such a fun restoration. If you're into projects like this, or you're looking to buy a boat, or maybe you want to start a new project on your boat, but you would like a little advice or maybe some guidance on that, then we can help you with that with our Boaters program, where you can get more of a one-on-one discussion with me to have a more in-depth conversation about your boat or your project, and that is found at bornagainboating.com.
Well, it looks like I've lost one of these somewhere, but I got one of them things on there. I need to, it looks like the washer that goes in there, I need to put a washer on the top of this. So like if you can see in there, I need to get a washer that goes in there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go find a washer for this, and then I'm gonna try and look for that other thing. Back here I went ahead and got those two things put on there. Got this kind of bolted down, anchor lights in there looking fresh. I need to go get myself some screws for this. I need 1 2 3 screws for that, just some smaller ones. And then I started the engine just to let myself charge the batteries up a little bit. But moving right along, yeah, if I can find this and find that, then I'll be able to put this thing down, just take all these off, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut them. And I'm gonna put this on first before I go cut them. I'm gonna put that down, and then set this into place. Now we're at the fabrication part of this process, because as you can see, these holes aren't going to line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these off, kind of line them up the best I can. I think as spacer, I might just be able to cut one of these off, right? And then see how far that moves it over, and whether or not I got to fill the hole or not. I might have to mix up epoxy, fill it in the hole, drill a new hole, and then bolt it down that way. But we'll see how this plays out. Well, looks like I might be getting lucky. Looks like I can just drill a new hole there and cut this. I'll take a grinder and cut, you know, this section, this little bit out of the piece. Let me go and cut these, and I'll be back. All right, we're looking beautiful up here with the hinges. That one's a little crooked, but I had to, you know, I got to do what I got to do. So pull this thing up. I got one gas shock on here, but my other gas shock out the bag was bad, so I only got one. Now this thing won't hold this thing up, but at least we're looking clean. That's on there. Now the problem is that my other rivet, I lost it. I don't know if I dropped it in the water or what I did, so I can't put that other one on there yet, but this thing's looking clean up here. I just need to kind of wipe everything down. I'll put the cushions up here, put the cooler here, put my cushion there. I can put those cushions on. I need to put my Bimini top on next, but yeah, this thing's starting to look just amazing. All right, we got our Bimini top here. So what I want to do is open this thing up, put the frame together, and then we can put it on the boat and kind of see where we want to put it. Here's where the old one was. It looks like they kind of had it, you know, maybe partially over this and then over as much of the front as possible, and then tied it to the railing, be my guess, because I don't see any other hooks up in the front. So yeah, let me just open this thing up and we will see how we want to, where we want to put our mounts at. Okay, got the Bimini top together. This thing's actually really easy to put together. So what I think I'm going to do though is, judging on, that's the front right there, and then there's going to be back legs that go back. I think I'm going to just put it back the way it was. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take that off, and I've got one screw mark there. So with that one screw mark, I'm going to be able to put this on there like that, and then kind of see what that looks like without having to put any holes in the boat before we, you know, send it permanently. I'll just stick it on there so we can hook it up and see what it looks like. Okay, well, this is what she looks like. I just kind of took that screw out just if I were to mount it right there to see what this looks like. And I mean, this looks really good for up here. You know, if you're at the sandbar, you kind of like someone sitting here, someone sitting here and there, you kind of got some shade. But honestly, this boat needs two Biminis. Like, it needs another one back here for like cruising around and stuff like that. But I think it's nice to be able to take the back one off, because if you're fishing and stuff, you've got all this room. Yeah, you ain't got no shade back here, but you got shade up in the front. Like, your console's all shaded, and people can sit up here and be shaded and not have to deal with that if you're fishing. So now you can get the cushions out, and we can start closing it up. All the cushions are on the boat now. This thing looks amazing. Still not sure what I want to do with the Bimini top. I'm still going back and forth on that one, but all the cushions are on. This looks awesome, even with this cooler here, looking beautiful. Now what I need to do is go ahead and I need to go around the boat. I mean, I still need to fix this thing too. That needs to be fixed, but I need to go around here. And I need to take this stuff, which is a Vinyl Guard, moisturizes and adds UV protection. add shine to all vinyl surfaces while removing light grime. So this right here, spray down all these cushions because the sun will just eat up this stitching. So the best way, as soon as you get new cushions, you need to hit them up with some of this vinyl guard or something to protect them from the sun. So let me go ahead and wipe all these down real quick. It is reckoning time for this piece here. I'm going to try and just take a flathead and peel all this old tape off of here, probably up to about the middle here. And then I'm going to try and use some of this right here. This is just some heavy duty mounting tape. It's about the same thickness. I'm going to take a razor and I'm going to cut this down like that to get it to the right width. And then I'm going to stick it on there with this, and this should hold it. Then I could just kind of, I'll put tape along it, and then with the tape along there, I'll just hit it with some sealant, you know, to clean it up. All right, we are all prepped and ready to go. All this is pretty well cleaned. I can go ahead and stick my tape here. Go ahead and start rolling this out and stick it on this section here. I'm gonna get it to here first, just to kind of get all this pushed down over to here, and then I might end up having to take that screw out and stick it through the outside of this. I'm not 100% sure if I will or not, but let's see how this looks, because yeah, this, as soon as you put this in, it pops this up. I might even have to put one up here. I'll have to see. It's actually holding surprisingly well up here. I mean, I could probably even just seal that. That did surprisingly well. I don't know how it's going to do over the long run, but that's just something that time will tell. I'm just going to probably seal, you know, around this thing, but I'm not going to put a screw in it. I might at the bottom, but I don't really know. You can tell, I mean, look how much it shrank since its beginning, but I'm just going to seal all that, kind of seal this, seal up this a little bit, and then I'm just going to leave this as it is, and we'll see if this comes off. If it comes off, you just got to put a screw here. Same thing down there. If it starts to come out, you just put a screw in the top of it. That'll hold it. The tape will hold it, seal it, be all right. So yeah, let me put a little bit of sealant on it, and that'll finish this thing up. Okay, now that that's all sealed, I'm gonna go back to this Bimini top. I think I'm gonna move it back a little bit, and probably I'm gonna take these mounts and I'm gonna mount them here where the old ones were and see how that looks. Well, I mean, this definitely gives this a lot more shade up here. I think they will just get an extension on the front. I'm going to mount it the way it is. I'm going to take these off, and because they had this thing backwards too. So here's the clips for the tie downs, but those are always supposed to go in the front. So they had their T-top mounted backwards, which, I mean, I guess I could try and mount this the way they had it and flip it around backwards too, but honestly, I mean, I think this will just be what it is. I'll have to, I mean, you got no shade in the front, so people up here in the front are going to get no shade unless we add a front extension. All right, so I got the Bimini on here. This is what it's going to look like. I went ahead and just opted to put it in the back. If we want to take it off, we can take it off, but at least this way it gives the cockpit all this shade, and then if we want, we could put one in the front. The only thing that I would probably change is this is definitely not that tall, but I tried to keep as much space back here as I could, so that way when you step up out of here, you're not hitting your head on it when you step up out. So kind of a mix between the best way to stick it, but tons and tons of shade. So now all that's left to do is I need to kind of hit all these little things, like all that stuff needs to be hit, and I need to put a new caulk on this line right there. Same thing from this one back here, and then also right here. So as long as I do those, oh, and the fuel sender. So I'm down to about 3 items left. Fuel sender, that's the problem down here. So I don't know, or it could be my ground. I mean, this thing might not have a good ground. I don't know, that could be my problem too, so I might have to look at that. This is generally how I like to test the fuel senders. I go ahead and pull the sender out. I get a known good one because the one that was in there, when I ohm tested it, it was bad. I make sure the ground is good, and as long as I got ohms, so I use my ohm meter there, make sure that that's got good ground. Good ground was confirmed. So then I just took the sender up to this wire, and I run it up to the engine, plug it in, and make sure that it's reading. So this is reading the way it should. Kind of hard to see, but it says 29, and I can move the sender up and down and change that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that to the other side of this harness in here, and I'll plug it in and do the same thing to make sure that that harness from there to there is good, and then from there I go to there, because something's between here and there. It's the sensing wire is bad, plus it needs a sender. So now that was a successful test run. So this is actually the 300 that's on here, but we're going to be taking this thing off because it has 1,667 hours on it, whereas the other 225 only has 104. So that's going to be going on there. It's just we need to take the steering bracket or the swivel bracket off of it and put a different one on there because it's locked up. But they're going to be doing that later. The engine can also go down a little bit. That's going to be the right prop for the boat with the 225. That's about how it's going to perform, as you'll see in a second when I put the video of going out. But we got 46 miles an hour on the GPS, and we got it was at 6,000 RPM. So really a different prop with this engine. We could probably trim this up and be 50. Also with the Bimini top being a giant parachute just sucking the boat down in the water, so that also didn't really help. But it's probably a 51, 52 with the right prop and a 300, but it's only rated for 225, so the 225 is going to go back on there. That's what it's going to run, probably 46 miles an hour. Now the fuel burn at 30 miles an hour was burning about 9 gallons an hour with about 3,400 RPM, so that's really good in a 1 foot chop as well. But we've got one other day of ticky-tacky stuff, like this in here needs to be cleaned out, and then also, yeah, they need to change out that engine. I'm not going to be around for that, but yeah, that engine will be changed. So this is going to be the last day that I'm on the boat. This was 24 days. We got 170 hours in it, and the next video is going to be the complete breakdown of the time, the days, how much money was spent in the entire boat, and what we think that the boat is probably worth. And you'll see that next week, or tomorrow, I mean.